Okay, David, over to you. You've now got the seat for presentation.
Thank you, Nick, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to go through this presentation on bigtincan. And as Nick was saying, bigtincan has been working in the SaaS space now since 2011, and we have found it a very interesting space to be working. We've certainly been learning a lot about how some of the world's largest companies understand the benefits of the SaaS space and where they see some of this technology going. What I wanted to do today is run through a very simple introductory presentation on bigtincan to give you a bit of an idea of what we do, the way we do it, and some of our prospects for the future. This slide talks a bit about introduction to the company. And as you can see, bigtincan is an enterprise mobility company. That means we make software that's used by enterprise organizations. And by that we mean larger companies that are choosing to buy our software to solve a problem that they have been having with how do they optimize the performance of service people. And we'll talk about that throughout the rest of the presentation. bigtincan is an established SaaS company. We started in Sydney, Australia in 2011 and have grown our company pretty well over the last few years. I moved here to Boston, where we established our sales and marketing headquarters in 2013. And the company's grown. We now have customers in over 35 countries around the world, more than 300 customers and 100,000 users on our network. And we have some high quality customers. You can see some of the names there, AT&T, Guess, Merck, and a number of others. As discussed, we derive our revenue through the subscription sales of our software called bigtincan Hub. And you can see some numbers there in terms of our established revenue in the SaaS space. One thing we like to talk about here is a very important number that we think you will see becoming more and more important as you start to judge the comparative performance of SaaS companies. And that's monthly recurring revenue. Monthly recurring revenue really indicates how well a SaaS company is doing in signing on new customers and growing or expanding the work they do with existing customers. As of December 2016, bigtincan generated $745,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and our pro forma 16 revenue number of $8 million represents a monthly recurring revenue of 54% growth from June 15 to December 16. So we've been growing pretty quickly. As Nick mentioned, one of the things about this IPO in the prospectus is we do have a forecast. We've been working with PricewaterhouseCoopers out of Melbourne, and that forecast number is $11.7 million in calendar 17, an increase of just a bit under 50% from 16. And you can notice there as well some of the high product gross profit margins we've been able to achieve and actually extend as we've grown out the company. And that again dates back to or is linked to the SaaS-based model of bigtincan, that we're selling our service on a per user per month basis. And because of the investments we've made over the past few years in building out our cloud-based technology, we're able to grow that revenue base while achieving significant product gross margins. But at the end of the day, what we do at bigtincan is we make software that some of those organizations we spoke about use to help them to solve the problem they're having with driving the performance of sales and service people in the field. Now, those of us that have to work with sales and service professionals understand how challenging it can be to ensure that those people have the right information at their fingertips to enable them to be able to win more deals and be able to get more done. That's a constant battle that our customers are facing. It's a particularly challenging battle when you think about that problem on the scale of some of the bigtincan customers. We have organizations like Merck that are deploying bigtincan in more than 30 countries around the world. And to do that at that level of scale and to ensure that the right information is made available to the right person when they're going to go and do a sales call with a hospital or a doctor or a clinic in anywhere as diverse as rural India to Eastern Europe, ensuring that that person has the right information there to be able to help them to close a sale is pretty important. And to do that, we have created a piece of software we call bigtincan Hub. Now, one of the interesting things about the company is that we are a single product company. bigtincan Hub is our SaaS-based offering. And you can see it here running on an iPad. Now, interestingly enough, we have understood and seen the impact that devices like iPads and other mobile platforms are having on our larger enterprise customers. And certainly bigtincan really assist those customers to be able to be more successful when they do employ technologies like iPads. Importantly, though, the Big Tin Can technology runs on all different platforms. It's platform agnostic. So whether you're using smartphones, iPads, Microsoft Surface Pros, and even good old computers with web browsers, the Big Tin Can solution does what it says here. It brings together automatically all the information that those professionals need in the field to get their job done. Now, at Big Tin Can, when we first built this technology, we knew that to be successful, to grow the company, and to be able to put in place a platform that would enable us to, of course, be successful here in the USA, but also enable us to extend that platform around the world, we had to invest in some of the core technologies that were required to enable this business to be able to grow. So we've invested a significant amount of capital in building out the technologies behind the Big Tin Can Hub platform. And one of the things that we knew early on was going to be important to help our customers to be more successful when they deploy this kind of technology was to think about the power of machine learning and AI. Now, I'm not going to dive into here in this presentation too much detail on where the machine learning and AI technology comes from and how it has such a huge impact on the way our customers take advantage of the Big Tin Can technology. But I do think it's important for investors to understand that we have made the investments here to not just build out a great platform based on a SaaS model that enables us to use cloud scale, so be able to scale the product pretty quickly and cost effectively, but that we could do it with the technology underpinnings that would enable us to be able to grow the company into the future. And we'll talk a bit about some of the growth we've got planned in a minute. So Big Tin Can's Sales AI, which is our AI-powered technology, enables those customers to be able to do some really interesting things when they deploy the Big Tin Can technology. And again, we've seen some of these make a big difference to how our customers get successful. And you can see here, it all starts with this idea of replicating success. The AI technology in Big Tin Can enables customers to be able to take advantage of the successful people inside their business and have that success be replicated or learned or passed around to other people inside the business to help them to be able to perform as the successful people do inside their organization. Sales AI also helps people to save time. It's built to ensure that we can optimize the performance and the time that somebody spends when working with a customer. And if you look at our website, you'll see some interesting testimonials there from customers talking about how they've benefited from the optimization of their time. Big Tin Can was also a pioneer in this concept of guided selling, and that really enables our customers to implement a selling process whereby the technology can actually guide a person down a pathway to recommend the right products and the right solutions at the right time to help them be able to close a deal in the field. And this is built on real machine learning that actually works with other AI platforms to make a difference to the way our customers use the technology. So if you think about the AI underpinnings of the technology, the product itself, a single SaaS product focus with Big Tin Can Hub, an established business here in the USA where we derive around 90% of our revenue. It's worth having a look at some of the investment highlights that about the company. I think there's a number of things here, a couple of ones I want to draw your attention to. Number one is that we've made significant investments here in building out this technology. And this is not just, you hear a lot of technology companies talking about SaaS and offering services, but at Big Tin Can, we have built out the platform. We own the core technology that we use to power our platform. This is not just some assembly of open source software that we've decided to cobble together. This is an existing, established, highly scaled carrier grade technology. It's also an enterprise platform. So we don't sell to consumers or small business. We believe that there is a significant opportunity for us to be able to work with some of the world's largest organizations to help them solve these problems that can be quite complex for them in scale. And we have found that to be a pretty successful model for us. Now, the interesting part of our model is that we use a channel-based go-to-market. And if you look at some of the materials that are available, you'll see how some of those channel partners have really helped us to be able to scale quickly. Now, the beauty of channel partners is we find organizations around the world that have a kind of a vested interest in the Big Tin Can Hub software going along with other products, whether that be hardware or carrier services or other technologies that they sell, where Big Tin Can Hub actually adds tremendous value around that. And those channel partners make a margin on selling the Big Tin Can product, and in many cases, that's a very strong margin for them. but it enables them to take advantage of our investments in the technology to add a lot of value around what they sell, and also gives us the opportunity to be able to grow a lot quicker than would have been possible in the past with the other approaches to growing out the company. Nick mentioned the business model being a SaaS business model, and we're seeing a lot of interesting questions and discussions about SaaS at the moment. Certainly the benefits of SaaS, in terms of the ability to be able to scale quickly at low cost, certainly are attractive for investors, but they're also really attractive for the buyers of this technology. It enables them to purchase software in a new way, rather than having to make sometimes a significant long-term commitment. They can actually start off using a technology like bigtincan Hub, and they can grow that deployment inside their business. We actually coined a phrase here inside our team that we call land and expand. And what that means is that we're focused on how do we get these customers to take advantage of the bigtincan technology, start off using it in one part of their business, and then expand that as they grow. Talked about some of the revenue numbers. You can see some of the growth there in MRR. And again, we think that the MRR number is something that you can use to be able to get a bit of an idea on how established a SaaS company actually is. But of course, the SaaS market as well is growing, and you can see some growth numbers there in terms of where that market is growing. We have an analyst report inside our prospectus published by Aragon Research, talking about a pretty strong level of growth in the overall SaaS market, but also particularly in the content and sales engagement market in which we operate. One of the important things as well for investors in this IPO is that we have assembled what we see as a strong board and management team behind the company. My background has been involved in technology companies now since the mid-90s, starting working for the Americans, bringing new technologies to Australia and then throughout Asia, and then as an owner and operator of my own businesses. Our board, headed by Mr. Tom Amos. Tom has been around as well in the Australian public company space for more than 20 years. He was an original founding director of one of the Macquarie Bank technology investment groups, and has worked extensively with smaller companies as they continue to grow and migrate into the kind of public space. So he's a very important part of our team. The rest of our board is made up of strong experts in our business space, as well as governance and ASX experienced people. Talked about the company itself. I mentioned that we started in Australia in 2011. We've now grown around the world. You can see some of the locations we operate there. Boston is our global headquarters for sales and marketing. We chose Boston rather than Silicon Valley pretty deliberately. Certainly as you think about a business like bigtincan that is focused on enterprise customers, on the larger kind of business customers, it made a lot of sense. We see roughly 70% of the customers that we would see as targets operating in the eastern seaboard of the US, and so Boston's been a good location for that. And in many ways too, Boston is, maybe you could use the expression, more stable than things are, say, in Silicon Valley. We see opportunities to be able to bring really highly qualified people into our team, both executives and operating people in the team here, probably a lot easier than one would find in Silicon Valley. But we have scaled out the business across the US. We have sales offices and customer success offices around the US. London is our headquarters for the EMEA region, and we do have a product development center in the UK, also product development in Singapore. But the majority of our product development is still done here in Sydney, Australia, and it's been a pretty successful choice for us. We've found that we've been able to attract highly qualified experts in our space, and been able to pretty much scale the business as we have needed to do so. Business model of the company, talked about the principle of being a SaaS-based company, and that certainly is important. But there are 5 real pillars of our business model. Number one, of course, is we want to own our own market-leading software. We want to be sure that we have the ability to be able to create and move as fast as the market needs us to move, rather than being faced with third-party licensing risks and costs. We use this channel-based go-to-market strategy, and that has been helpful for us as we've been able to scale the company probably a lot quicker than we would have done with a more extensive direct sales approach. Deliver the product using SaaS gives us high scalability, low cost of delivery, and also helps us to be able to offer the kind of commercial models that our enterprise customers are looking for. And we also pride ourselves on customer support. We believe that being successful in our space, and certainly working with some of the customers that we work with, it's really important to provide the best quality services and implementation support around our product. But at the end of the day, what we're doing here at bigtincan is we're bringing together and creating this, you can see, integrated single platform here that ties in the capabilities that our customers need for them to be successful in the market, for them to grow both their top line through increased sales and also help them with the productivity of people inside their business, delivered as a SaaS service that makes it easy for them to start and move forward. The product itself, bigtincan Hub, it's made available globally. We have 3 different editions of the product, and we've created the 3 different editions to offer our customers the choice to be able to find the right mix of product capabilities and price points that suits them based on the maturity of their deployment of this technology. Now, we actually see customers moving between these different editions. The customer might start, say, on the light edition, and then based on how they deploy the technology, they might say, well, actually, we want to move up and move some of our users to a higher edition. So we see an interesting opportunity to be able to grow the revenue that we achieve per user, as well as seeing more customers get access to more capabilities in things like our enterprise product. Now, interestingly enough, as you go through this presentation and look at some of the financials that are available, this will be the only place that you see the prices that we actually charge to the end user. We only include the net dollars that we receive in our financials. That's important to understand. Future growth plans for the company. We see a very interesting opportunity for us to be able to continue the work we've done in establishing the company here in the US. We have roughly 90% of our revenue coming from North America. We have significant deployments in a number of Fortune 500 companies, and we're engaged in discussions with a number more. So this is not a company that is hoping to break into the US market, using this IPO funding to investigate how we do that and start off offices here. We've been working in the US market, selling to those organizations now for 3 years, and we've got a pretty experienced team that understands how to work with those customers and see them successful. We do plan to expand our channels, and that includes both working with existing channels that we've already got great, strong partnerships with, and be able to continue to see them be successful as we invest together with them in new programs to grow our business. We also see some interesting opportunities in some new geographic areas and potentially even some new market spaces where we can see expanding our channel partnerships with new channels coming online, and that could be interesting in terms of how we continue to grow the company. We're also going to be focusing on how do we not just build our own technology with bigtincan Hub, but how do we help third-party developers to be able to build tools that work with bigtincan. And this offers really interesting benefits both for us and our business, as we are able to take advantage of third-party developers who'll be able to add capabilities that they create into the product. But also it helps our customers to be able to bring together an ecosystem of technology that kind of works together to add more value around the total solutions. We see that as being important. And again, bigtincan's always been an innovative company. We have been very much one of the pioneers and leaders in this space since the foundation of the company. We want to continue to be there. We understand that this market is still at its early stages, and there are interesting opportunities for growth ahead of us. We want to ensure that the company is well prepared to be able to meet those challenges to grow and move forward into the future. So there's a lot here behind bigtincan, and certainly we have been now involved in this business and learning about how we can build and grow the business here in North America and around the world. And we do continue to see those opportunities exist for the company. That kind of gives you a bit of a run through on the business, what we've been doing, some of the way we think about our technology, what it does for our customers, and how we bring it to market as a SaaS model. So again, at the end of the day, we see bigtincan as being a powerful platform that offers as we continue to expand the business around the world. Nick, that's a bit of an introduction. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the group has about the company or the plans we have for the future.
Great. Thanks, David. Very useful presentations and good detail for people to get their heads around. As David mentioned, if you do have any questions, we've got the ability for you to type your questions online and we'll moderate, let them through as they arrive. So we'll give you a minute or two to think up those questions, and feel free to type them up and send them through. David, I think
that's great.
One question from me is, I suppose, just talking about a bit more detail about the channel partners, who those channel partners are, and what value you really see them bringing to the business going forward.
That's a good question, Nick. A good example of that is our partnership with AT&T. And the story is actually quite an interesting one. They discovered bigtincan when they were looking for a solution for their own people. So they had the same problem many large organizations have. They have a very, very large, extensive sales team. But a lot of those sales guys are just not organized. They don't have access to the right materials to be able to win more deals and move forward selling situations. They're just a bit, struggling to be able to find the content they need to be able to successfully present and share and collaborate with their customers. So they found bigtincan. They actually originally bought 200 licenses of the hub, tested out, and they deployed it to what they call their mobility application consultants. They're their top folks across the US that specialize in working with their biggest customers. Pretty successful deployment since then. They call it the most successful sales enablement tool ever deployed. They have grown that purchase now to more than 10,000 licenses of bigtincan. So they've grown pretty strongly. Their entire North American business to business sales team, small business and large business, use bigtincan Hub every day to sell a significant amount of revenue using the platform. AT&T then thought that was pretty interesting that they were making such learning a lot and benefiting in their business. They wanted to bring the product to market. So they worked with us. We signed a partnership with them, and they have been a strong supplier of bigtincan product to market. And that's been very helpful for us, because if you think of it as, in many ways, a small company out of Australia, starting here in the US can be challenging. So partners like AT&T were helpful in bringing us into larger enterprise customers that they sell to every day. They have large established selling processes with. So by being able to partner with those channels, it's helped us to certainly, we see grow a lot faster than we would otherwise have been able to grow, win more significant enterprise customer deals, because being recommended by AT&T certainly helps there, and has also really helped us to establish a leadership position in the market that we see as being really important for the future. This market is still growing pretty quickly, and if you look at some of the analyst reports in our prospectus, you'll get a bit of an idea of some of those opportunities. And we want to be front and center as the market continues to grow. And partnerships with AT&T really help us. One thing I can suggest to those watching the stream is to check out AT&T's website, att.com/bigtincan. You can get a bit of an idea there of how AT&T thinks about the bigtincan solution and why they see it as being pretty important for their business.
Thanks, David. Another question has come through from Shiraka. Who are your main competitors, and how do you see those competitors?
Good question, Shiraka. It's a pretty competitive space. Obviously, the idea of helping sales and service people to be more successful in the field makes sense. You can see it has a direct impact on the bottom line of larger organizations. So therefore, it's a kind of technology they need. We have a number of competitors, sort of US-based VC-funded organizations like Showpad and Seismic Corporation. We also have competitors that use a range of existing legacy technologies like intranets and Microsoft SharePoints to solve a similar problem. What we've seen as being different about the bigtincan solutions, we've really built the infrastructure necessary to solve the complexity that some of our larger customers have. As an off-the-shelf SaaS-based technology that understands the complexity and the security and the governance requirements that larger organizations have, that's put us in a pretty interesting competitive position against other organizations that have been focused maybe more on the smaller business side of things. So we've been really focusing on that positioning, and it's really helped us to grow.
Okay, great. Now we've got another question coming here from Robert. So could you indicate how you're tracking on your H2 FY17 forecasts? And he says on his numbers, why you should be adding 18 customers over the half and increasing MRR towards 900,000.
Yeah, there are some numbers. Yeah, that's a very technical question. Thank you, sir. Look, there are some numbers in the prospectus that talk about where we want to get to with MRR. we're not on this webcast announcing where we are so far to date. But you know, the principle of growing the MRR is really what this business is all about. And you know, we see that as being the strategic measure here of the success of the company. You know, we've been doing this now for a number of years with we feel as a quality, experienced team in the USA that knows how to work with these large organizations to move those deals forward. So, you know, obviously we're looking forward to closing off the IPO and you know, continuing that growth path.
Right. There's one other question that's come through here from Tom. It's in around channel partners again.
Sure.
I suppose the question on channel partner side is, you know, is it common for SaaS companies to have them, and how do they impact your competition, or I suppose, you know, your incumbency as such?
Yeah, look, it's one of the reasons we started early. This is not a business that you want to get into too late. If you are trying to establish relationships with some of the channel partners that bigtincan already has in place, that's a complex, expensive, and time-consuming process. It takes years to put in place those kind of channel partner arrangements. We've been working this now for years and investing considerable amounts of capital in growing out those partnerships and establishing those relationships. And you know, we think that is a competitive advantage for us because, you know, once you're established in those channel partners and you're working well with them and they're seeing success, it makes sense for them to continue selling your technology. So, you know, we think those existing relationships are important for us, and they will help us to be well positioned to, you know, to leverage those organizations to grow even faster in the future. But look, you know, we think that it's all about getting out there and winning the customers and using the channel partners to kind of help us get there.
Great. Thanks, David. One more question from Robert on the financial side again. He's saying, I know you're only giving 9 months of forecast, i.e. end of FY17. I suppose is the expectations well, I suppose when's your expectation of becoming making a profit or being cash flow positive?
Yeah, we have put in place what we see as a strategy that enables the company to get to cash flow break even at around the end of 2017. So that's our plan. And you know, we feel and we see the company well positioned to be able to take advantage of the work it's done to achieve that goal. You know, this is an established business, hundreds of enterprise customers around the world, significant number of deployments. We've established our business here in the USA. We know how to sell and grow. And pretty much our plan, if you look at the prospectus and the work done by Price Waterhouse, you can see very much the plan is to continue on that kind of growth path. And certainly PwC was, you know, very helpful in working through that kind of material to give investors a bit of a look at where we see and they concur the company's headed.
Great, thanks, David. Were there any other questions from anyone else on the line? Okay, that's another question here for Robert. His question is, does that mean that expenses will be relatively stable going forward?
Yeah, one of the interesting things about bigtincan, actually, it is a good question because it brings about a discussion in terms of what we've done here. You know, we have invested in building out the technology behind the bigtincan Hub platform. And if you look at our use of funds going forward, we're not going out there to hire a whole lot of more technical people and build tons and tons of new product with the hope that customers might buy it. You know, this capital raise, this IPO is all about growing the company. And, you know, we have the channel partners, we have the team, and our focus is to grow that team. More boots on the ground in North America, supporting the team we already have to continue the growth plans that we put in place here at bigtincan. So again, you know, if you look at the prospectus and look at the use of funds, it's pretty clear that our focus is to support the existing channel partners with programs that, you know, we believe will help us to, you know, to grow the business and to be able to take advantage of those partnerships. And that's really what this is about. You know, we have made significant investments to be able to be sure that we were well placed, leading in the market. Now we want to continue to lead. We're not saying that we're going to not do that. We want to continue to lead, and we think we're well placed to be able to do that.
Okay, great. Thanks, David. We've got another question here from Tom.
Sure.
Can you talk more about your agreement with Apple and Salesforce, and how those channel partner agreements work with those platforms?
So let's talk about Salesforce first. You may have seen an announcement on our website about a partnership with Salesforce. Look, it makes sense. If you think about what bigtincan does for sales and service professionals in the field, it is the ultimate, single pane of glass, if you like, to information that we would present to a sales and service person to empower them to be more successful when they're working with their customers. And Salesforce is, a very strong player in the CRM space, a customer relationship management space, and Salesforce is growing their capabilities across not just sales but to service and other areas as well. So that's a partnership that makes sense. The bigtincan Hub product is now available inside the Salesforce UI, inside Salesforce, and that's available now on the Salesforce App Exchange for download. And that means that our customers now have the ability to use the bigtincan technology directly inside the Salesforce UI. In terms of Apple, we've had a relationship with Apple now dating back really to the foundation of the company. We saw tools like the iPad and the iPhone as being incredibly helpful for sales and service professionals. So, to make them more able to successfully work with their customers. And we have had the opportunity to work with Apple over that time to ensure that we've designed the right technology, the right product capabilities to meet the needs of those customers. And, to work directly with Apple, to build out not just the product, but the go-to-market around that, to work with Apple's partners to see them be successful using this technology. In many ways, you can think of Apple as the platform partner. Of course, we mentioned that we do work on other platforms, but we've made a pretty strategic commitment to working with Apple, and we see them as being a very important part of our future going forward. And Salesforce is the CRM platform that a lot of our customers have or are looking at having. It's been interesting partnerships that, bring together a pretty compelling story for the business.
All right, thanks, David. I think that's it for questions. Look, thank you very much. Appreciate your time tonight, David, over there in Boston. I hope it's not too cold outside.
Well, I should tell everyone it was about 10 degrees Fahrenheit in the mornings over the last few days. It's about -13 and in Celsius. So, that's our life over here. We have to be tough. And again, if any of you ever get across here to the East Coast, I must say it is a really interesting place, and there's a lot to learn here. But certainly for a base for a technology company, we highly recommend it.
Very good, very good. Now, look, we have got one additional question that's come through from Gary. What's the expectation of price on listing? Gary, I'm not sure we can really forecast what the listing price is going to be, but the issue is going out at 26 cents. As I mentioned before, that implies a market capitalization around $46 million and a valuation multiple around 2.7 to 2.8 times 2017 revenue.
Let's just say it's well priced, and
I think the other point to note as well is that the offer has been underwritten by Bailey Holst. So what that means is that Bailey has effectively guaranteed that the capital will be raised through this process by quality investors, and we were lucky enough with OnMarket to get an allocation through that process by Bailey Holst, and obviously with the support of David and the bigtincan team.
I want to say, Nick, thank you to you and the platform. We were pretty impressed with the platform. We didn't know much about it, and the technology you've built into that is definitely interesting. As someone who's involved in seeing a few of these things, I thought you've done a pretty stellar job there. And for us, the chance to be able to work with a variety of investors who can, have an opportunity to be involved in an underwritten IPO, we think makes a lot of sense.
Very good. Thanks, David. Actually, look, we do have one more question from Sharaka here.
Sure.
His question is, it seems that your target market is big companies. Do you plan to offer your product to small and medium businesses as well?
Look, Sharaka, it's a use case solution. So we have started with a lot of these larger companies, and we've done pretty well with some of them, and we see them as being important targets for us as we grow out the company. But look, the technology we have makes sense in a small business. Now, of course, here in the US, there are significant numbers of what we call mid-market companies that need a similar solution to what bigtincan provides. So, the technology itself is use case oriented, more so than targeting specifically the large companies. People who have a use case for getting the right information for the right people on a mobile device or on a computer in a way that provides the kind of governance and security and control and scalability the bigtincan hub provides, are ideal customers for us. And you can see organizations that are smaller as well are taking advantage of a similar set of technologies. So it's something that, we understand is very much use case oriented.
Great. Look, I think that finished up the questions. So, look, thank you again, Dave. And just for everyone, just reminding you, we're closing on Friday, this Friday, 5 p.m. If you do have any other further questions that you'd like us to direct to David, we'd be more than happy to do that. So send them through the Intercom platform on the OnMarket website. We look forward to bringing you more interesting offers just like bigtincan going forward.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, David. Bye-bye.